Hello everyone, this is Godzilla Wolf 1 with a movie review. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these, and today I will be reviewing the 13th Pokemon movie, Pokemon Zoroark, the Master of Illusions. This movie was actually pretty good. I'd say it's one of the better Pokemon movies that have come out recently. Though I will say this, the Cartoon Network version cut out a bunch of stuff, which I had to look up in order to to do this review. I looked it up to make sure I got it. Some of the stuff they cut out from the Japanese version was like an entire prologue intro that there was, but mainly that is passable. I mean, they cut it for time. I understand that, but you didn't really lose much in what they did there. I mean, they didn't cut out so much that it did not carry over any of the plot. You got all the information you needed to in the end. Anyway, the basic plot is Ash and company are on their way to Crown City. It's a city in Sinnoh, or whatever region we're in right now. Sorry, I'm a little fried right there. I can't remember. Anyway, it's the last movie of the Diamond and Pearl arc, so of course Dawn's still there. And they come across this Pokemon, Zora. I can't remember, it's Zorua or Zora, or I can't remember her name. I'm just going to call her Zorua. I think that's how they say it. Anyway, she's being attacked by a bunch of Vigoroth. They save him, sorry. It's a him, but the voice sounds female. I don't really get why, but it does. Anyway, they save him, and he tells them that Zoroark is, I guess you could say it's his mother. I'm pretty sure it is. He calls her Meemaw, which a lot of people online have been complaining about that. I don't see why. He calls her Maw in the Japanese version, but Meemaw in the American version, which to me sounds more like something a child would call their mother. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see why people are hating on that, but that's beside the point. He tells them that his Meemaw, Zoroark, has been captured by an evil man that took them both from their homeland, and while he escaped, his mother did not. Well, it turns out they're in Crown City anyway, so Ash, Dawn, and Brock, of course, decide to help. Then the main antagonist of the movie, I can't exactly pronounce his first name very well, but his last name's Kodai. Let's just call him Kodai. I will say this right now. He is the most evil Pokemon villain I've ever seen. This guy is a complete monster from the get-go. I mean, his first scene, you can practically tell the guy is a complete monster. There's no redeeming qualities about him at all. He is just a monster, plain and simple. I'll get more into that later, but trust me when I say that. There's nothing redeemable about this dude. Anyway, he uses a holographic Zorua to convince Zoroark that he still has him, and then pretty much blackmails her into impersonating Entei, Raikou, and Suicune, the guardians of Crown City. They would be the guardians of Crown City, and there are another set of them that are. But the ones that Zoroark is impersonating is what Kodai claimed to have been bringing to Crown City to compete in some tournament they're having, which is also why Ash, Dawn, and Brock are coming. But anyway, he has her impersonate them and rampage through town to evacuate it so he can search for what he wants in the city. You see, Kodai has the ability to see the future, which is how he became rich and all that. But in order to get it, it's fading out, so he needs to find a time ripple that was created when Celebi entered this time in order to regain it. I won't go much further into that because it's a spoiler, but just let me put this out there. If he finds it, it's bad for everyone. Well, anyway, moving on. Zoroark rampages, the city's evacuated, and then I'm pretty sure he just does this to be a sadist. Kodai has her recaptured with the illusionary Zorua, while Ash, Dawn, and Brock meet this guy named Carl, who's a reporter, and make it into the city. Pretty much the rest of the movie is trying to stop Kodai and trying to reunite Zorua and Zoroark. That's pretty much the main plot of the movie. There's not much battling in this movie, I must admit. But really, it moves so fast you don't necessarily notice, and I think trying to stuff some battles in there that weren't really needed would have slowed the movie down a lot. So, the pacing is better this way, I think. Anyway, it focused more on the plot than anything else, which is one of the reasons I think it's better than a lot of the others that have come out recently. Anyway, let's see. Crown City's beautiful. It is a beautifully done town. I really like it. And the legendary dogs, there is a set of 3 shiny legendary dog Pokemon that are the guardians of the town. And they do show up later on thinking Zoroark is the bad guy. That gets... Well, I won't go into that very much. It's an interesting subplot, though. Anyway, it's interesting that they're shiny legendary Pokemon. That's something interesting. I guess that's why they were shiny, was to differentiate them from Zoroark's replica ones. But anyway, it's interesting. Celebi is also involved, but not to the extent she was in Pokemon Forever. Still, a good bit of the plot revolves around her because that's what she needed to arrive for Kodai to get what he wanted to. Okay, on to new characters. Carl doesn't really do much. He has a main role later on, but nothing really ecstatic earlier on. There's another character, let me see, what was her name? Okay, I can't remember her name, but anyway, it was Kodai's assistant, who is pretty much, I won't go too much into it, but she's pretty much his assistant, has some interesting traits as well. Zorua is fun. I like him a lot. Zorua and Zoroark have the ability to use illusions to transform into other Pokemon and humans. Zorua ends up with a tail if she transforms into a human. Her own tail. She's like a fox Pokemon. She's fine transforming into other Pokemon, but just humans she has trouble with. She and Zoroark... Well, Zorua is telepathic and can talk to humans. Zoroark never shows that she can, but that doesn't bug me too much. Zoroark is pretty much a very, very effective Mother Bear character. And it's really emotional when you see her trying to get to Zorua and protect him. I mean, it's kind of... There's good emotional depth to the character. Okay, now on to Kodai. Please note, this will contain spoilers. So, if you do not want to have spoilers, I would suggest muting it. It might be a good idea to mute it if you don't want spoilers. But anyway, Kodai is, like I said, a complete monster. There's nothing redeemable about Kodai at all. He is evil. Okay, you want to know where I consider... Okay, his plan was to get the Time Ripple, which would wipe out all plant life in Crown City, which the last time he did it, he knew this was going to happen. It's not like in, say, Pokemon 2000, where the villain thought that the villain didn't know that he might cause the apocalypse by capturing Lugia and the 3 legendary birds. No. Kodai knows that that's going to happen. He is well aware of the fact that if he gets the Time Ripple, it will wipe out all plant life in Crown City, which the people spent the last 20 years rebuilding from the last time he did it. Okay, and that's not even the worst thing he does. What I consider the worst thing he does is when Zoroark and Zorua finally reunite, he actually murders Zoroark. Yeah, he does. She comes back to life, but he actually is the first Pokemon villain to successfully murder a Pokemon on purpose. Yeah, it's accidentally happened before, but Kodai purposely did it. He electrocuted her to death. Yeah, that was a spoiler. I warned you about spoilers. But Kodai is evil, okay? He's probably one of the best Pokemon villains because he's the most evil. There's no backstory to explain why. There's no tragic childhood, no, oh, something really bad happened in the past. There's no, I want to use my powers to see the future for good. No, he's just a greedy, complete monster that only wants to use his powers for himself and doesn't care about anyone else. The reason I brought up the him trying to kill Zoroark thing is because that happened directly after Zoroark pretty much used her illusion powers to trick him into thinking he absorbed the time ripple, which did allow Carl to videotape him confessing that he did all that 20 years ago, that he ruined all the plant life, and he's going to do it again without any remorse. He tried to kill her after that, okay? The reason I consider that one of the, very bad is because she was busy reuniting with Zorua. There was nothing stopping him from going and absorbing the real time ripple that was right in front of him, or running away. Okay, there's only 2 other characters in all of Pokemon I consider complete monsters. And if you're wondering why I keep using that term, go on TV Tropes and look it up. One is Vicious, aka the Iron Mask Marauder from Pokemon Forever, and the other is Pokemon Hunter J. Okay, neither of them do this. When they're thwarted, when their plan goes down, they run. They get out of there because they don't need to be there anymore. It's just business to them. At least that's what I got from it. I mean, yeah, they were both monsters, but they were both evil people, but they were just business mainly. Kodai is sadistic. He did not need to kill Zoroark. He could have run, he could have gone and absorbed the real time ripple. But no, he had to be a sadist and go kill her. I mean, and when I said earlier that I think he recaptured her because he's a sadist, he had no more use for her. He could have lured her in a non-violent fashion. She was listening to him because he had her baby. He had no reason to lure her into a trap and pretty much subdue her with an electric cage. He didn't need to do that. Okay, yeah, I know I'm getting a little serious on my villain here, but Kodai is just a monster. There's no way around that. I know I keep saying the word monster, but that's the only word that adequately describes this guy. Okay? And something else, the dub seemed to be mostly true, but they changed one thing that adds a bit to Kodai, but also adds a good bit of emotion to that scene right before he tries to absorb the time ripple. Okay, in the original version, he electrocutes in both versions, he electrocutes Zorua right in front of Zoroark to get her to back down and not continue messing with him to try to stop him from getting the time ripple. In the Japanese version, she says something along the lines of, like, I tried to be strong to his mother or something like that. Zorua said this, that he was trying to be strong. In the American version, he says, I guess there's no more time left for me. Pretty much saying he thinks he's going to die. And it's not Pokemon talk. This is actual telepathy talk that Kodai can hear. Yes, I know it wasn't there in the original version, but it makes Kodai seems even more of a sadist that he just ignores it and doesn't give a darn. Okay, I know I concentrated on Kodai a lot, but he's honestly the most other than Zorua and Zoroark, he's probably the most interesting character in the movie, simply because he's a villain, and I think that the only other reviewer I was able to find, I can't remember his name, pretty much said that this is one of those villains you just want to punch. Yeah, I agree with that statement. He deserved what he got in the end. I won't go any more detail. into that, but he really deserved what happened to him. Okay, spoilers and now. Okay, now what do I think of this movie? Well, like I said, it's one of the best of the movies we have recently. It's not the best Pokemon movie, but it's still a very good one. If you're just in it for the battles, you might not like it. But if you're in it just because you like Pokemon, that you like a good storyline, this is a good movie for you. One thing I should point out, though, is the Pokemon movies don't always have continuity, so Ash does not actually say that he's met Celebi before, but that can be ignored. Oh, now what do I think of this movie? Oh, one more thing. Things that were cut that I did not mention already. Dub edits. Let's see. There was, like I said, they cut out the entire front portion, but that was primarily for time. It was mainly just for time. So that will probably be fixed on the DVD release. You know there's going to be a DVD release. It's a Pokemon movie. Let's see. There was I said something in the spoilers that was changed. The biggest difference is probably, Zorua calling Zoroark Meemaw. There's that. Let's see. There's a few others, I think, but I cannot really remember them at the moment. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, that's really the only major change. So, there's not much dub edits this time, which is good. And the DVD version will probably have even less. So I give it a 9 out of 10. If I could see if I saw the full version, I'd probably give it a 10 out of 10. So, yeah, it's a good movie. I highly recommend it. Probably the highest recommendation I could give to a Pokemon movie that recently came out. I highly suggest it. Okay, this has been Godzilla Wolf 1 with a review. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.